Hello, this is Earl Purdy, and I want to welcome you to the Way of Mastery. It's time to go deep. Welcome to the Way of Mastery. Welcome to the Way of Mastery. I'm Earl Purdy. I want to welcome you to the Way of Mastery on Facebook Live. Take a breath as our mighty companions, our holy companions, come and join us. Mighty companions, let's come together. Mighty companions, let's come together. Mighty companions, let's come together. Mighty companions, this is Earl Purdy. I want to welcome you to Facebook Live, the Way of Mastery. The Way of Mastery. The Way of Mastery. The Way of Mastery, we're going to talk about the world. The world will mirror your thoughts and beliefs. We're going to talk about how the world will mirror your thoughts and beliefs. This is on page 334. 334. Page 334. In the Way of Knowing. Lesson 29. Lesson 29. Lesson 29, which is freedom is love under all conditions. And the section we're going to do is the world will mirror your thoughts and beliefs. The world will mirror your thoughts and beliefs. The world will mirror your thoughts and beliefs. That's the title of the section that we're doing on page 334. The world will mirror your thoughts and beliefs. And so this is what you need to remember to hear this correctly. You need not believe the ideas. You need not believe the ideas. You need not accept the ideas. You need not accept the ideas. You need not even welcome the ideas. You need not even welcome the ideas. Some of the ideas you may actively resist. 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 Did I say some of the ideas you may actively resist? Some of the ideas you will find hard to believe. Some of the ideas you may find hard to believe. Some of the ideas you may find hard to believe, and others may seem to be quite startling, and others may seem to be quite startling. You are not asked to judge the ideas at all. You are not asked to analyze the ideas at all. You are not asked to analyze the ideas at all. That's not what you're being asked to do. You are not being asked to judge the ideas at all. You are not being asked to judge the ideas at all. Their use will give the ideas meaning to you. Their use will give the ideas meaning to you. Their use will give the ideas meaning to you and will show you that the ideas are true. Using the ideas will give the ideas meaning to you. Analyzing the ideas won't give the ideas meaning to you. Trying to figure it all out That's not going to give the ideas meaning to you. You have to remember the ideas and use the ideas. Okay, mighty companion, I'm so glad that we're here together to do the way of mastery and the way of knowing. The world will mirror your thoughts and beliefs on page 334. Okay, you know me. I'm going to go through it. I'm a messenger, and I want to deliver this message as clearly as I can. So here we go. Let me get it on my Kindle so I can see it better. The world will mirror your thoughts and beliefs. Your world is a reflection of your thoughts. The world that you are experiencing is a reflection of your thoughts and your beliefs. Hear that. Do you know that the world will mirror your thoughts and your beliefs? Your world is a reflection of your beliefs. Your world, how you see the world, how you experience the world, is a mirror of your thoughts and beliefs. Second, do you know that there is a mediated form of karmic response? What does that mean? What does that mean to hear there is a mediated form of karmic response? What I'm saying is that the world around you, what is it going to do? The world around you over a period of time is going to coagulate. So what does it mean to have the world around you coagulate? It means that the world around you is going to create itself in a context. What kind of context? The world around you is going to create itself in a context that will mirror or reflect to you that which seems to prove the negative thought that by now you have forgotten you even created. So if you are a person who is experiencing what you think of as negative experiences, it's a reflection of negative thought that you have had that you have forgotten about. So if you seem to be going through some type of a negative experience, and right now you're experiencing that type of experience, the way of mastery says it's because of a negative thought that you've forgotten that you've even created. What did we hear in the last section we did? We heard that unconditional love will dissolve karma. So nothing is more important than learning how to give unconditional love. But giving unconditional love doesn't mean that you become a doormat and you let people walk all over you, and that you don't, in a loving way, stand up for what's true for you. And sometimes when you have something negative that you have forgotten that you have created, the way of mastery says, then you will have the negative thought again. And you will mistakenly believe that the negative thought is there because of the conditions outside you. The biggest mistake, do you know what the biggest mistake that a person makes? they believe that they are going through negative conditions that are being caused by things outside of their own thought. When you believe that negative things are happening to you that have nothing to do with your thought, then it's going to keep on repeating itself in some form or another. If you keep on saying things are happening to you that there's nothing about you that's drawing that to you or creating that, you're just asking to continue to experience it over and over again. So I'd like to ask you, right next to where you make comments, there's a button that says share. Would you please share this live broadcast on your timeline so that other people can benefit from what we're covering? An example would be for someone to see an event occur in life, such as the government raising taxes, and then say, yeah, I've always known that's the way it is. You just can't trust a single politician. Yet that person is not seeing that 15 years ago they decided that politicians couldn't be trusted because they heard that from their father. And so therefore, you know in your mind that politicians will always do something to take more money out of your pocket. And then 15 years later, when your taxes are raised, the mind says, I knew it all along. I think I must have been right all along. See what they did? This means that politicians can't be trusted. While in fact, the politicians are merely the manifestation that fulfills the prophecy. I know that sometimes it's challenging for us to believe that our government is a reflection of the consciousness of our country. Our governing body, our president, our Congress, our Senate, the judges, they're all a reflection of our collective consciousness as a country. Nothing is happening to us that we are not at some level contributing to. So Yeshua says, in this way, I want to invite you. What is it that Yeshua wants to invite you and me to do? Yeshua wants to invite you to look at your life. Look at your life. Look at your life. Look at your life. How are the events that are occurring in the quality of life you are living possibly reflecting a self-fulfilling prophecy? It's possible that your life is just a reflection of self-fulfilling prophecies, that you have the kind of relationship that you expect to have at some level. You have the kind of financial situation that at some level you expect to have. Your life is a self-fulfilling prophecy. And sometimes we forget about the thoughts that we have. In other words, how could what you are experiencing now merely be the fulfillment of the karma of how you are using your mind? So, what does that mean? Well, it means usually in this secondary form of the way karma shows up, the beliefs or thoughts are very, very old and very deep in your unconscious. Are you aware that you have deeply buried thoughts that you are not aware of? You have deeply buried thoughts in your unconscious mind that you are not aware of. You are not aware of all the thoughts in your mind. Do not tell yourself you are aware of all the thoughts in your mind, because you're not aware of all the thoughts in your mind. So as you go back in time, as you look at your life, as you go back in time, as you look at your life, this is what I want you to ask. This is what you must ask. What must, as you look back at your life, as you look at your life, as you look at everything, ask yourself, what must I have believed previously for this effect to be showing up? So whatever the effect is in your life right now, if you have a situation financially, say, what must I have believed previously for this effect to be showing up? For instance, if you have no money, if you have no money, you need to look well at what you have believed about money in the past. I have a personal theory that the more you believe that money is taking care of you, probably the more scarce money will be in your experience. The more you believe that money is the answer to all your problems, probably you're creating a situation that will create financial scarcity for you. And let me tell you why. Because it isn't money that's taking care of you. It's a lie to believe that it's money that's taking care of you. And if you believe that money is taking care of you, then you're telling yourself something that's not true. It's God that takes care of you. It is the Creator that takes care of you. It is love that takes care of you. It is the universe that takes care of you. And all of those are the same thing. And what's taking care of you is within you and surrounds you. So every time you tell yourself that it's money that's going to make you happy, you're telling yourself a lie. And the universe is not going to support a lie. So if you believe that money in and of itself is taking care of you, why would the universe, why would Spirit give you money when you're not going to give any of the credit to Spirit? When you're not going to see it as something that God is giving you? You're going to see it as something you've earned, or you're going to see money as something that's taking care of you? Remember, if you have no money, you also should look to see what were the beliefs about money that your parents had. What kind of beliefs about money did your parents have? What kind of beliefs about money did your parents have? And you could use this example with anything. If you have no relationships that give you any peace, what is it that you have believed about relationships in the past? What kind of relationships did your parents or your primary caregivers have? Because we've touched on this before. Each soul drops into this world through the context of the parents. So what does it mean to drop in this world within the context of your parents? Well, that means there's a context of perception, there's a context of belief, and there's a context of attitude that you begin to be colored by, because you are accepting that coloration into the field of your own energy as a means of making contact with this world, as a means of emerging into this world. There's a context of perception. There's a context of belief. There's a context of attitude that you have accepted that's coloring the field of your whole energy. And you're using that energy field to make contact with this world and emerging into that context. So ask yourself again, what must I have believed previously for this effect to be showing up? For me to be going through what I'm going through right now, what must I believe? What is it that I must be believing, whether I know it or not, to be going through what I'm going through right now? What must I have believed? What is it that I'm believing to be going through the financial situation I'm going through right now? What must I have believed? What is it that I must be believing to be going through the kind of relationship experience that I'm having right now? Ask yourself that. What is it that I must be believing to be going through the work experience that I'm having right now, or the parenting experience that I'm having right now? Ask yourself, to have the kind of life that I'm having right now, experiencing what I'm experiencing right now, what must I have believed? What is it that I must be believing to have this kind of effect show up in my life? To have this kind of experience showing up in my life, what is it that I must be believing? Ask yourself that question. If, for instance, your parents believe that spirituality and material wealth can't go together. So let's say that you were brought up in a household where people thought to have a lot of money wasn't spiritual. And therefore, to be spiritual means to do without materially. If you believe that there's a separation between spirituality and abundance and prosperity, even including financial abundance and prosperity, then look at how your life reflects that. Do you know you're probably a very spiritual person that doesn't have any money? Are you a very spiritual person that has little money? Are you a very spiritual person that has little money? It's a possibility that you believe that spirituality and material abundance cannot go together. You may have this belief that it's not okay to have material abundance if you are a spiritual person, especially if you see yourself as a very spiritual being, but you're always struggling when it comes to money. Do you find that you have a block at receiving money for being of service to others? See, right now, I'm a full-time teacher, messenger. And so when you do what I do, sometimes it's almost like people, even though they want to receive income for what they do every day in order to allow themselves to be sustained in the physical world, to take care of food, clothing, shelter. If you are doing what I'm doing, something that's more of service or something that's more spiritual, then you will find sometimes that people seem to actually resent the idea that I would ask for money or receive money or abundance for what I do. See, that's that old programming that says it's not okay for you to receive when you're doing something of service to others. Do you find a block at receiving money for being of service to others? When I talk about a financial expression of appreciation at the end of my class, do you find that you feel some type of contraction or resentment around that? Well, that's you saying to the universe, if you're rendering some kind of service, that you shouldn't receive for it. Are you a person who has a lot of blocks around receiving money? Yeah, I'm using the word money, even though abundance is more than money. I know that, but I'm using the word money because that's probably what you had to use to pay your rent or your house note or to buy gas. Okay, so let's get real here, right? So let me ask you this. If you have a block about receiving money for the services you offer, then do you also not have a block in receiving money for something you dislike? You see, many people go to work every day and they do things for a living that they don't get any pleasure out of, that they don't really like, because they believe it's okay to receive money doing what they do not like. Most people will let money come to them through doing something they don't particularly like. And that's what's happening many times when people go to work. They're okay about receiving that paycheck or receiving money for doing something that they don't like. But then if they have a special skill or talent that they like to do, let's say they're a singer or they want to be a designer or actor or a minister or a teacher, but then you tell yourself, oh, if I'm an artist, I can't receive through that. Or if I go out on my own doing my own thing, I can't receive through that. Don't you see that your belief is that you can't receive through being of service to others? That it's not okay for you to receive doing the things that you love, but at an unconscious level, you might be telling yourself that it's okay to receive money through doing something you don't like. Is your income coming to you through doing something that you do not like? Is your income coming to you through doing something that does not inspire you? That's right, Kim. It's okay to get paid for having fun, doing what you love. I love teaching. I love being a teacher of God. I love being a conduit for truth. You're looking at a person who loves what they do. And I have to always go past any beliefs that tell me that it's not okay for me to be abundant for doing what I love to do. I refuse to buy into that old programming that it's not okay for me to receive money for what I do. But I just know it's all coming from God. That it's ultimately all coming from God. Even though I'm thankful to the channels, people who are willing to be channels, I still have to remember that it's coming from God. The core belief needs to be that it's coming from God. So I want you to live in that question. Do you find a block at receiving money for being of service to others, but no block in receiving money for doing something you dislike? Live in that question, beloved friend, and begin to apply that question to your whole life. As you look at your life, I want you to look at the effects you experience as your surroundings and look at your context. In other words, are you alone with no lover or friends? Are you alone with no lover? Are you alone with no friends? Are you alone with no lover? Are you alone with no friends? What have you believed about the world previously? What have you believed about the world previously? Somewhere it is the nature of your thought. Do you know that somewhere it is the nature of your thought, which is the agreements you've made unconsciously and consciously about what things mean? What is the nature of your thought? What is the agreements that you made with the family? What agreements have you made consciously and unconsciously with your family? That's the experience you're having with your family. What are the agreements that you have made with the culture in which you have been birthed? What agreements have you made with the culture that you were born in? That has actually generated the energy that is showing up as the effects you experience as your life. Your life is a reflection of the conscious and unconscious agreements that you have made. Your life is a reflection, don't you know, of the conscious and subconscious agreements you have made. Your life is a reflection of the conscious and unconscious agreements you have made. So what thoughts or beliefs are you holding within your mind? What kind of thoughts are you holding in your mind? What kind of thoughts are you holding in your mind? What kind of thoughts are you holding in your mind? What kind of thoughts are you holding in your mind? What kind of thoughts are you holding in your mind? What kind of thoughts are you holding in your mind? What kind of thoughts are you holding in your mind? What kind of thoughts are you holding in your mind? What kind of beliefs were you holding? What kind of beliefs are you holding? What kind of beliefs are you holding in your mind? What kind of beliefs are you holding? What kind of beliefs are you holding? What kind of beliefs are you holding in your mind? Diana says, looking at the effects of the surrounding. Jim says, I am able to be paid from whatever source God uses for having and doing only the fun and the joy. Diana says, I have believed in lack and scarcity previously. So have I, Diana. I have believed in a lack and scarcity also previously. So Sahira says, I am making some new agreements with my family. That's exactly what you need to do. Make some new agreements with your family. And notice that for a while, you're still going to probably see some of the reflections of some of your old beliefs before the new beliefs kick in. Enid says nearly all forms of works are service and can be done sacredly if you choose to view it that way. It's all about how you choose to see it. That is the truth. So ask yourself, what kind of thoughts am I holding? What thoughts or beliefs were you holding in your mind? What thoughts and beliefs are you holding in your mind? What thoughts, what beliefs are you holding in your mind? One common thought might be, oh, I just can't really make it on my own. I need to be taken care of. I don't believe I have what it takes. Then 25 years later, you wonder why you feel resentment towards your mate. So what is the resentment? The resentment is merely the recognition. Resentment is the recognition that you thought a negative thought about yourself. Your resentment is a result of you thinking negative thoughts about yourself, and then you acted upon the negative thought about yourself, and you have created the effects of someone who is controlling. And you created the effect of maybe having someone who's controlling, someone who has to provide you with all your money, for example. So if you are in resentment, you're not taking responsibility. And then you think that there's a fault in the other person. You think that it's the other person's fault that you're not happy. And Way of Mastery says, you've forgotten to see the pebble, that pebble thought. You've forgotten to see that pebble thought that you dropped into the pond of omnipotent creativity. All of your thoughts, all of your thoughts, all of your thoughts are producing the experience that you're having right now. All of your thoughts. Now, it doesn't have to be difficult to change your thoughts. What makes it difficult to change your thoughts is, number one, you're trying to do it without God. Will you please stop trying to do stuff without the Creator? Please, please, please stop trying to do things all on your own. Stop trying to do things all on your own. Stop leaving God out. Stop leaving God out. Stop leaving God out. Stop leaving God out. This doesn't have to be hard unless you're trying to do it alone. Nothing that this book is saying has to be hard unless you tell yourself it's going to be hard, because your beliefs are going to make your experience. If you think it has to be hard, it's going to be hard. If you try to do it on your own, it's going to be hard. So keep that in mind, because your mind is a pond of omnipotent creativity. Your mind is an omnipotent pond of creativity, which is the domain of the mind. Take a breath. So, do you know that your karma is an effect of how your mind is used? Your karma is an effect of how the mind is used. What you have coming back to you, what you are experiencing, is an effect of how you used your mind. Your life is a reflection of how you use your mind. I say your life is a reflection of how you use your mind. So Jim is admitting to himself. He says, look, I have believed in lack, scarcity. I have done that. So he's not being in denial, so he can go beyond that. And I love how Diana says, where resentment lies, responsibility dies. That's right. That's right. So remember that no matter how you have thought in the past, you can think right now in the present in a brand new way. And in teachings like the Way of Mastery and the Course in Miracles, from beginning to end, they're giving you new interpretations. They're giving you new ways to look at things. It says right here, now I have indeed said that karma can only exist where unconditional love does not. Receiving some kind of a negative experience back can only happen where unconditional loving does not. Now, what does that mean? It means that when the mind unconditionally loves, the first thing you do when you unconditionally love is you love first yourself. So first you have to love yourself. I know that you want to feel noble, and maybe you've been taught it's about loving everybody else first, but that is not true. It's about your mind loving first itself. And then number two, in order to dissolve all consequences from past negative thinking, then you have to place no conditions upon what your mind receives as ideas from the universe. Stop placing conditions on the ideas that God can give to you. If you really want to dissolve karma, if you want to experience unconditional love, stop putting conditions on what ideas can come to you, what new thoughts can come to you from the universe. There's a lot of people in your world that look up to those who've taken great chances in life. There's a lot of admiration in our society for people who've taken big chances. For example, the actor or the actress who waits on tables at some cheap hamburger stand, sleeps on a park bench, keeps taking acting lessons, and finally gets the part and becomes rich and famous. Have you noticed how much our culture worships the rich and the famous and the celebrities? Even though those are the same people that are scorned many times when they first say, I want to be an actor, or I want to be an actress, or I want to be a musician. Many times their friends and relatives and their parents actually discourage that, judge them for wanting to do that. But once they make it, then everybody admires many people admire the Kardashians and the movie stars. Yet the one who became rich and famous, that person who became rich and famous is the one who received the impulse to act and followed up on it. The successful people are the ones who received that inner impulse to act, and they actually did it. They were willing to do whatever it took to be in the context in which something may or may not occur. So those rich and famous people, those successful people, many of them had the impulse to act, and they acted on it. And they did whatever it would take to put themselves in the context that something could happen to them that they wanted to happen to them. Many of those rich and famous people had the willingness to take a risk. When I left a very, very promising, well-paying corporate job to become a full-time Course in Miracles teacher, and also using my skills as an astrologer and numerologist, and trusting that the universe was going to provide for me in doing what I loved, that was a risk. I had to take a risk to do what I do full time. I'm still doing that, but I'm following the impulse of my heart. So you have to be willing to take a risk. In other words, when you do what you really love and you trust God and you trust Spirit, but you can't be jabbing around. You got to really be trusting, learning. That's a person who's actually living in a state of unconditional love. And do you know it's a state of unconditional love for yourself? See, I'm showing, according to what this is saying, I'm defending against the truth. I'm going through a tremendous psychic, emotional, mental, spiritual transformation. And many spiritual books say that when you go through those transformations, it can sometimes appear to be things going on with your body that's unexplainable, that can be sometimes seen as what other people would call illness, but really it's a purification, it's a transformation. And I know that's exactly what I'm going through right now. And I'm willing to love myself unconditionally by doing what my heart tells me to do. So if you're going to have unconditional love, if you're going to have unconditional love for yourself, you have to be willing to take a risk, but not take a risk that's stupid. I'm talking about taking a risk when you're rooted in what you really want to do in your heart and you're inspired, and you've taken the opportunity to get rid of the blocks that make you think you're separate from God, and you're able to hear your inner guidance. So I'm not talking about get up in the morning and say, I'm just going to quit my job and I don't have any idea what I'm going to do. Not unless you have developed an unbelievable level of faith. And you know whether or not you have by how much fear you have. So, whether they think about it or not, anybody that's truly successful are carrying the subtle belief that the universe will somehow arrange itself and will support them to follow their heart. See, in order for me to leave that corporate job, I had to have a belief that the universe would somehow arrange itself and support me to follow my heart, that God, the universe, guidance would arrange itself and will support me in following my heart. You have to believe at some level that you are not alone and that the universe is going to support you and that everything is going to arrange itself so that you will be able to do what it is you really want to do in your heart. All right. So what were we told? What we were told was that your physical world is going to reflect your thoughts and beliefs. Your physical world is a reflection of your thoughts and beliefs. And you were also told that when you go through what you consider to be negative conditions, what you may be experiencing is the result of negative thoughts and fearful thoughts that you have had, but that you forgot about them. So that means you may be seeing yourself as a very positive person right now, but sometimes you seem to experience what you call negative situations and circumstances. And you don't realize that what you are experiencing is the result of previous negative, fearful thoughts that you've had. Because it's unconditional love that dissolves karma. And you know whether or not you're at the point that you're giving unconditional love or not. So, when you say something has to be hard, when you say that something has to be tough, when you say you have to work really, really hard, that's going to be a self-fulfilling prophecy. That's you decreeing that for yourself. Like when you hear these instructions that you're receiving from the Way of Mastery, and you tell yourself, that's going to be hard. I don't know how I'm going to do that. If you tell yourself it's going to be hard, that's what it's going to be. So what we were told tonight by Yeshua, we were told to look at your life. Look at your life. Look at your life. And then see what it is in your life that's reflecting a self-fulfilling prophecy. What's happening in your life that is the reflection of a pattern that you've had for many, many, many years, a pattern of thinking that you've had for many, many, many years. So as you look at your life, as you look at your life, as you look at your life and you look at what has shown up in your life, ask yourself, what must I have believed? What must I have believed previously for this effect to be showing up? There's always a connection between you and what you experience. There's always a connection between you and what you experience. If you are experiencing joy, if you are experiencing love, if you are experiencing abundance and companionship, that's a mirror and reflection of your thoughts and beliefs. But you have deeply buried, unconscious, old beliefs. And some of the things that you are experiencing in your life, they're coming from unconscious, old, buried beliefs that you've forgotten about. And then the temptation will be to blame someone else or something outside yourself instead of recognizing that you are experiencing an old paradigm. So ask yourself, how many experiences am I having right now, whether it's in my money or in my relationship, that's a reflection of the beliefs that my parents or guardians had around relationship or around money. You are a soul, and you have dropped into this world through the context of your parents. And there's a context of perception that you have. There's a context of belief that you have. There's an attitude that you have that's colored by your own energy. And you're using your own energy to make contact with this world. Do you believe that spirituality and materiality, do you believe that spirituality and material wealth can't go together? Do you have a resentment of people with material abundance? Do you have a resentment of people who have loving relationships? Are you a person that tells yourself that it's okay for you to receive money through doing what you don't like, but it's not okay for you to receive money through doing the things that you do love and things that are of service to others? You need to live in that question. Do you have a block in receiving abundance through doing what you love? You deserve to be paid for having fun. You deserve to be paid for having fun, for doing things that you love. Are you alone? Are you without a lover? Are you without friends? Then what have you believed previously? So when I talk about your thought, I'm talking about the agreements that you've made, the agreements that you've made unconsciously, and I'm talking about the agreements that you have made consciously, the agreements you've made with your family, the agreements you made with your partner, the agreements you've even made with the culture that you live in. What are those agreements? Because those agreements are generating energy, and that energy is showing up as the effects that you experience in your life. So what thoughts or beliefs are you holding within your mind? So I'm going to give a few more tips and recaps right before we finish up. I want to thank you for tuning in. And if you'd like to make a financial expression of appreciation for this teaching that has come through me, I would really appreciate that. And you can go to Earl Purdy. You can go to earlpurdy.com. See, Renew, when you say, how can you achieve goals without money? You are leaving God out. Stop leaving God out. Stop leaving God out. it should be more of how can you achieve your goals without God, more so than how can you achieve your goal without money. If you have the goal of having peace of mind, you can choose to look at things in such a way that you have peace of mind without necessarily having money. That's not true. That's a false belief that you cannot achieve your goals without money. If I had the goal to love my father and to change my mind about my father, what does that have to do with money? So if you're talking about material goals or any goals, please listen to what I'm saying. Stop leaving God out. That's why you struggle. And when I say you, I mean whoever this applies to. So, you can't achieve your goals, your real goals, without God. Now, let me explain something right quick. Having power, fame, money, and physical pleasure as a goal is not a real goal. A real goal is going to be a goal that has to do with bringing more love and unity and healing and oneness into this plane. Power, money, fame, physical pleasure, specialness can be a means for you to learn beautiful spiritual lessons. But if you are a consciously evolving soul, then you are getting to the point that you know it's not about personal power, personal ego, personal money, being special, or having just physical pleasure. Those goals are the goals of a soul before they really start to go into true maturity. There's nothing wrong with it. It's beautiful, but it's not what the way of mastery is talking about. The way of mastery is talking about getting to a level of consciousness where you want to be a conduit for only the good, the holy, and the beautiful. Look, we don't need, it's not money, the buildings, or fame, or clothes, or houses, or cars that's needed in this world right now. Those things are already in this world. What's needed in this world is for us to friggin' love each other, stay awake together, care about each other, connect with each other, wake up. That's what's needed. That's what's truly needed. And when you have that as your thought, you will be surrounded by love. Things will start to heal in your life. So, I'm available. You can go to earlpurdy.com, www.earlpurdy.com, if you like to make a financial expression of appreciation, and I would appreciate that. I'm available for one-on-one sessions. Those sessions require a financial investment, and they're worth a lot more than the financial investment that I'm asking for, because I'm bringing 40 years of experience into our session, as well as my knowledge of astrology and numerology and the Course in Miracles and the Way of Mastery and counseling with many, many hundreds of people. All of that comes into the session. And there are tons of free videos of my classes and lectures that are available on my website, earlpurdy.com, and also on YouTube. So if you don't see yourself as having financial abundance enough to have a session, then just go to my website, or just go to YouTube, or go to Facebook and listen to the videos that I've already done. That can be helpful. I'm here to be truly helpful. So, mighty companions, I want to tell you that the next session of Facebook Live will be 7 p.m. Mountain Time on the Earl Purdy page, which will be Hardcore Course in Miracles on Thursday. And then Sundays, I speak in front of a live audience, but I also put it on Facebook Live, A Course in Miracles, at 1 p.m. Mountain Time, and it's all on the Earl Purdy page. On the Earl Purdy page. Take a moment to share the video of the class on your timeline. I really, really would appreciate that. And I always see your comments. Even if I'm not able to respond to each one of you individually. So when you feel resentment, do you know that you're feeling resentment because resentment is always the result of not taking responsibility for one's own happiness. It's a negative thought about yourself. Resentment is a negative thought about yourself that you're acting on, but you're projecting it out like somebody else is causing the resentment. If you're full of resentment, it's because you've forgotten that you're the creator of your experience and that your experience is coming from your beliefs and your thoughts. So how do you dissolve all of your karma? You do it through what? Unconditional love. So when you unconditionally love, the first thing you do is you love yourself first. And you stop placing conditions on God. You stop placing conditions on what you are willing to receive as ideas that come from spirit. And when you look at other people who seem like they are a lot more successful or rich or famous, a lot of those beings, they are that way because they had an impulse of desire. And they acted on that desire. And they followed up on that desire. So in order to be ultimately successful, they were willing to do whatever it took in order to have the context that something good could happen to them. So how can you say you want something and you're not willing to do what it takes to have it? To be inspired is to be in spirit. If you're not inspired, you are not in spirit. If you're not inspired, you are not in spirit. If you don't have any enthusiasm about what you say you want to do, it's not truly what you want to do. Something that you really want to do, something that's coming from your heart, something that's coming from God, an inspiration that's coming from love, it will inspire you. If you don't feel inspired, you're not in spirit yet. If you're just doing it for security, that's not the same as doing something from a place of inspiration in God. So what is it that you need to be willing to do? Make sure that you have a connection with God and get rid of every block that keeps you from having a connection and a communication with God, and be willing to take risk. Be willing to take a risk. So, don't you know it's time for you to live in an unconditionally loving place for yourself? So how do you love yourself unconditionally? You love yourself unconditionally by learning how to follow your heart and learning how to get rid of your blocks so that you can know your connection to Source and God. Because all that you have comes only from God. All that you have comes only from God. All that you have comes only from God. Your Creator is the source of everything, not you. Not you separate from your Creator, not what you do in the outer world. It has nothing to do with who you know, your influence, how educated you are. Everything comes only from God. Remember, you are not alone. You are not alone. So when you are loving yourself, you start to have the belief. What belief? When you're loving yourself, you start to have the belief that the universe will somehow arrange itself and will support you to follow your heart. I support you to follow your heart. I support you to follow your heart. Follow the path with heart. Follow the path with heart. Follow the path of your heart. To be inspired is to be in spirit. To be inspired is to be in spirit. To be inspired is to be in spirit. Mighty companions, we did it again. I love your comments. That's right, Amy. I love myself because I'm connected to God. Carla, I'm glad that you've had a blessing and a miracle with your physical body and your physical health. That's right, Diana. That's right, Jim. That's right, Kim. I appreciate you all. I love you all so much. And may this course be with you. I love you. See you next time.